folks, Brian here with the Coastal Patrol Cub. Ask and you shall receive. One of my previous videos I showed me sitting in the front seat of the Cub talking about how I can actually fit in there. And in the comment section someone mentioned that they'd love to see me getting in and out. And so sure, why not? So I figured I'd do a quick video on how I get into both the front seat of the Cub and the rear seat of the Cub. I'm going to start this with the same preface that I had on the last video. So I'm a big guy, I'm 6'4", and obviously the Cub is a tight fit for me, but once I'm in, I do fit. I fit better in the back seat than I do in the front, but I can fit in either or. So what I will say in general, for those of you who are not familiar, if I'm going to be flying with two people in the Cub, I would say whoever is going to be in the front seat should probably get in first. It does make it a little bit easier. The front seat has the problem of the struts are more in the way, and of course you shouldn't be stepping on the struts. The landing gear legs are more in the way. You should definitely not be stepping on those, right? So it's easier because you can get some get some support in the back here and not have this person in your way. So getting the person in the front seat in first helps. One thing, because I do bring the Cub to air shows and I do let kids especially sit in the airplane, I like to tell them that, hey, any place that's black is okay to put some weight on. So here on the door is good. The problem is my interior door handle is also black, and that's not good. So I need to change that color or change what I tell people, one of the two. But my step here on the outside is black. And of course the struts are yellow, that's yellow, right? So it's a good way to kind of tell people, hey, what you can step on, what you cannot. However, I also do tell them that any of these metal bars inside the airplane are of course good to grab onto and support. They are structural, so they're nice and strong. All right, so that being said, getting in the front seat, again, is definitely more challenging. What I tend to do is I can get, again, since I'm so tall, I can get one of my feet up, no problem. And now again, I can sit here on this window post and I can be grabbing onto posts. I can support myself in various ways. So at this point, I can get my right leg up over the struts, being careful not to step on the landing gear, any of that stuff, and I can get that in, sitting on the floorboards here, and then again, support myself in the back a little bit. And I can bring my left foot over. And now I am in the front seat. Again, it is very tight. And I was talking in the previous video about how with the thick seat cushion I have here on the front does make it more of a challenge. And that's something I'm looking to get rid of as far as the thick cover. But I am in. So there you go. So that is how I get in the front seat of the Cub. To get back out again, it's more or less reverse of the same. So I kind of twist, put my left arm back on the rear seat. Again, it's partly why it's helpful not have someone sitting here. Slide back. Just hanging my foot up on the seat cushion here. Okay. Now I can kind of slide back on this windowsill. Right leg out. Left leg out. Now again, I got big long legs, right? So I don't have to use this step at all. In fact, using the step, I feel like makes it more of a challenge for me. If you're shorter legs, right, that step is available. But I think the same general idea generally holds true. You can sit on here, seems to be the easiest way to get up to there. With real little kids, again, and when I'm at air shows and stuff, I just have them get into the back seat and then they can just walk up to the front seat basically when they're real little. But that is how I do things for the front. All right, rear seat for me, again, much easier. And again, it's partially because I have such long legs, but I'll generally move the control stick over to the right. And I'm gonna take my left leg and I literally just step all the way up into the seat and support myself here, grab on the top V here, and I'm off to the races. And this is as easy as it gets. But like I said in my previous video, the nice thing about a Cub for me being in the rear seat, I've got nothing obstructing my knees, no issues there. I got the control stick. I have full range of motion on the control stick, and it fits me very well. It's just not a lot of shoulder room, but enough. And again, I have good free and clear control movements on everything. One other thing I will mention is footwear. So I'll just stick my foot out so you can see these shoes. I actually used to fly in like slip-on Vans, like skateboarder shoes. And those actually work great. They just wore out. But I found these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. These have a very similar flat, very thin sole, very narrow. I have very wide feet. I mean, I'm a big guy. Everything is big, right? So I wear size 15s and typically a 15 wide even, right? So really what gets me in trouble with the Cub is how wide my feet are. It makes it a tight fit between the side of the airplane and the seat when I'm sitting in the rear seat, and up front it's a tight fit between there's some a V strut in the front that I have to kind of get my feet around. These shoes are not really padded in any direction, right? Which is maybe not great for if you're going to be walking around a lot, but for getting a big foot into tight spaces works great. So I've actually been really happy. This is my second pair of these. They work really, really well. I know some people that'll fly, you know, I've heard people flying, you know, barefoot in socks or whatever, but I would say I don't like to do that. I do like to have some shoes on me, but these are the shoes that I like. Again, a nice thin sole, thin flexible sole, and very narrow. If I get tennis shoes, the problem with tennis shoes a lot of times is the sole is flared out and it's bigger, it's wider than your foot really is. And if I were wearing my normal tennis shoes, I literally would not be able to fly the Cub with those shoes. They would get stuck in that space, which is obviously really bad with any airplane, really, really bad with a tailwheel airplane. You want to have the ability to be using your feet. So yeah, so these are the shoes that I like. So yeah, anyway, I hope this video is helpful.